one of the more recent examples of WFAN garnering a lot of attention was when Carl Banks decided to
I knew
stop
this was going
doing
to come.
his weekly spot on the midday show. So would you say, was that whole thing overblown, or was the coverage around that warranted, in your opinion?
Well, it's hard to say what's warranted. People clicked on it, right? You could attest to that.
Yeah.
And I think New York Post could attest to that. So people were obviously interested. So I can't say it wasn't warranted. I do think I think overall the reaction to it was probably outsized from the actual event. When they did it, Sal and Brandon, they knew immediately afterward that it was shoot, shouldn't have done that. Went on the air and said they shouldn't have done it. Reached out to Carl, said, I apologize for it. We had numerous conversations with Carl where both on and off air, Brandon and Sal obviously on air, with me off air, where they were like, sorry for this, shouldn't have gone there. And Carl responded, I get it, it's cool, we're good. So numerous conversations, which Sal and Brandon kept off air, kept those conversations off air. They said it shouldn't have gone there on air. They knew it. I knew it. I had mentioned to them previously. I was like, that's the guest stuff, maybe not be quite as contentious as it seems. Be contentious with each other, be contentious with the caller, maybe not. So they could feel it going there. They were disappointed that it went there. And I thought the reaction to it, for a number of different reasons, kept going maybe longer than it should have, or that I would have liked it to be.
Yeah.
I think if you listen to it, you can understand what happened. If you listen to the entire segment, you'd be like, oh, I can kind of hear what happened there. But it was what it was. Carl seems happy, fine, good. We're good, fine, happy. But it was certainly a ride.
Were you surprised that he decided to not come back on?
No. I think he would tell you that, and he said it himself, actually, that's not really what he doesn't want to debate back and forth with them. Yeah. That wasn't what he wanted to do. And I think if we could go back and say, what is our aim? That wasn't our aim either, which is why we were disappointed that it went there. It just sort of happened. That's what happens when you argue about sports, right? It's sometimes it gets there. So, but I think after talking to him in the beginning, I could have sort of felt like it might go that way. So I wasn't surprised. But he was, just to reiterate, he was kind about the entire thing. Yeah. He said, when we spoke about it, he said, love Brandon. He said, don't know Sal that much, but have respect for Sal, have respect for WFAN. All good. We're fine. Just not something I wanted to do anymore. And that's as much as he said publicly afterwards. So it's all good.
I think one of the big things with that was the fact that he had been doing it for so long. Had this been the first season and he just decided, you know what, this isn't a fit, sports radio isn't something that I want to do, it wouldn't have been a big deal. But the fact that he had been on the midday show for 15 years or whatever, however long it was, and then now in Brandon and Sal's first NFL season together is when he decided to stop doing it. I think that's part of why.
Yeah, I understand it for sure. I understand why the reaction was so surprised, but think of the number of hosts we've been through in that show from beginning to end, from when you're my dog, I'm sorry.
That's right. I keep muting myself occasionally because I'm waiting for my dogs to do the same
thing. He just got home. My wife just got home from being out of Philly for Christmas, and he's going nuts every time somebody walks past the front. So, so you think about the number, even just in my time, this is the third show since I've gotten here in middays. So it's Moose and Maggie, then it was Brandon and Tiki, and now it's Brandon and Sal, and before that was Joe and Evan, and then there was CMB, and there's all these different shows. There's no reason why we should assume that whatever worked for a show as far as guest or structure 15 years ago should also work for a show today. Mm-hmm. There's no reason.
Yeah,
I have a tremendous respect for the fact that he did it the entire time. Absolutely. And it does show that the decision shouldn't be taken lightly, But, you know, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And, you know, he didn't want to do it anymore. So I didn't really know what else to do after that, you know?
Yeah.